So, at the beginning of this film, we are introduced to a man named Marco, who has come to meet a Russian gangster. As soon as he arrives, he gives the man a bag full of money and asks him where his merchandise is. This gangster gives him a key and tells him that his merchandise is in the car's trunk. Marco picked up the key and left from there. Before leaving, he set fire to the entire go-down where he had come to meet the gangster. In the trunk of this car, he found a suitcase, and after he picks it up, the scene cuts from here. Now, we see the movie's main character, Ethan, with his wife. They have just found out today that his wife is pregnant. Hearing this, he became very happy. It was also Christmas today. Both of them worked at the airport, so they leave for work together. Due to Christmas, the airport was expected to be very crowded today. Since Ethan was in the security sector, he is first briefed on how they need to handle everything on this day. After that, Ethan goes and talks to his boss, saying that he wants a promotion now. He doesn't want to check people at boarding anymore. He wants the job of scanning luggage. The boss was refusing because making any changes on such a day was not right. However, his friend Jason helps him here, and after asking the boss, gets his and Ethan's duties changed, so Ethan finally got the job of scanning bags. Now the scene cuts, and we are shown an RV outside the airport, in which a man named Riley has kidnapped another man. And here, in just a few minutes, he also hacks all the airport's cameras. We also get to see that this same man has sent someone to Ethan's friend Jason's house to kidnap his family. Now, when he looks at the original airport CCTV camera footage on his mobile, he is surprised because Ethan was now sitting in Jason's place, about which he didn't know. It was quite clear that these people were criminals and were about to carry out some criminal activity. And to accomplish their mission, where they had previously kidnapped Jason's family to blackmail him, now they needed to find out about Ethan's family in his place. This hacker retrieves all of Ethan's bio data in just a few minutes. He finds out that Ethan's family consists only of his wife. Therefore, he sends his men to search Ethan's house, and from a report found there, they learn that Ethan's wife is pregnant. And now they will use this very fact as Ethan's weakness. Here at the airport, it was seen that someone brought Ethan's belongings to him. Seeing these belongings, Ethan said, "This isn't mine." But just then, he received a message on his mobile which said, "Put this earpiece in your ear." He was surprised and picked up the earpiece and put it in his Ear. As soon as he put the earbud in his ear, a man starts talking to Ethan and tells him, "If you value your life and your wife's life, then do as I say." Ethan wasn't understanding what he was saying. Then the man said, "You don't have to do much. In a little while, one of my men wearing a red cap will come to you with a suitcase. You just have to scan it and then quietly pass it on without saying anything. If you do this, consider your and your wife's lives saved." To ensure Ethan doesn't try any tricks, the man assures Ethan that he is keeping a close watch on him. He also knows where Ethan's wife is at this time, because Riley had done all this research for him. After hearing all this, Ethan gets a little scared and, hiding the phone under the desk, starts to call the police. But these people had a complete watch on Ethan. They see it and tell Ethan, "Hang up the phone. Don't tell the police anything, or else understand that things will get bad. Believe it or not, but right now, one of my men has a rifle aimed at your wife's head. Even a single mistake from you will take her life." While the man was talking to Ethan, the police had also received the call, but Ethan didn't tell the police anything and cut the call. After doing this, the man understood that Ethan was going to follow his instructions. He makes Ethan lock his mobile in a locker. Ethan asks the man, "Are you a terrorist?" The man replied, "No, I am not a terrorist. Someone has asked me to do a job." Ethan, thinking carefully, asked him, "What is in that suitcase after all?" In response, the man said, "You don't need to know. And even if you find out, you keep your mouth shut. If the suitcase doesn't reach the plane, or if someone opens it, consider yourself and your wife dead." Ethan tells him, "I am sitting here now. If Jason were here, what would you people have done then? Jason too would have been ready to do this. Work just like you, because we have also kidnapped Jason's family." This means these people had come with a complete plan. Ethan now tries to be clever a second time and writes a message on his smartwatch. Riley, who was sitting in the van outside the airport and had hacked the CCTV cameras, had also seen this. He tells this to the man who was talking to Ethan. That man tells Ethan, "You are making mistakes repeatedly. I won't give you so many chances. Go and put this smartwatch in the locker as well." Ethan, obeying them, had done this, and also understood that he wouldn't be able to do anything while sitting here. Now the scene cuts, and we see a police officer, Alina, who has gone to the place where Marco had met the Russian gangster yesterday, and after which he had destroyed that place. While investigating this place, they found the Russian gangster's watch near his body. Alina checks this watch, from which they found a recording chip. This chip was burnt, but still, she takes it to her forensics department and asks them for the data from this chip somehow. These people were successful in retrieving the data, but now they were unable to listen to the audios, because being burnt, the quality of the audios had deteriorated. Now we see Ethan again, to whom the man talking to him says, "My man is about to arrive in a little while. Until he comes, let's both talk." Ethan, guessing by the sounds around him, manages to find him in the vicinity of the airport. He had figured out that this man was not looking at him. Taking advantage of the opportunity, He quickly got up and, while handing over a boarding pass to the man in front, wrote something on it with an invisible pen and gave this boarding pass to a police officer. But he didn't know that he was being watched via CCTV. Riley saw all of this and told the man. Now the police officer also became aware of the whole situation. Before he could go and tell his entire department about all this, that man gets up and collides with that police officer. He had collided as part of a plan. While colliding, he injected the police officer with something that caused his immediate death. When Ethan returned to his chair, he saw that the man was not there in his place. He quickly looked around and finally spotted the man in the crowd. Before the crowd could gather too much around the police officer, he takes the boarding pass from the police officer's hand and moves away from there. Upon seeing his face, we realize that this man is none other than Marco, who also killed the Russian gangster at the start of the movie. Ethan also now came and sat near Marco. Marco read everything from the boarding pass that Ethan had written. After reading this, he tells Ethan, "I see you are making mistakes repeatedly, but I have given you this last chance, forgiving it as your final mistake. But if there is any next mistake, I will have your wife killed, and don't consider this my threat. I will actually do it. Now, quietly, go and sit at your scanner and do my work." As soon as Ethan goes back towards the scanner, he sees that Jason was sitting in Ethan's place again. Because a police officer had suddenly died here, which had caused a commotion, security had been tightened. That's why the boss had put Jason back in his place. As soon as Marco found out about this, he told Ethan, "Do anything, but get Jason out of there and sit there yourself." Ethan first tells this to the boss, but now the boss explains to him that the security situation is very different than before. "I cannot remove Jason from the scanner." Understanding the sensitivity of the matter, he took a coffee and mixed alcohol in it, after which he brought the coffee and placed it on Jason's table and complained about this to the boss. As soon as the boss saw the coffee with alcohol on Jason's table, he immediately fired him from the job, even though Jason was begging and pleading, trying to explain that this coffee was not his. Now the scene cuts, and we are shown the police officer who, after listening to that recording repeatedly, finds out about a poison. This poison was so dangerous that wherever it fell, everything in the surrounding environment would be destroyed. Now, the airport scene is shown where Ethan, after framing Jason, had taken his seat again. And now the time had also come when Marco's man arrived with the bag for scanning. At Marco's instruction, Ethan scanned it, and Ethan found out that there was a very dangerous weapon inside it. He didn't have much knowledge about what this weapon could do, but Ethan understood that this weapon could definitely destroy the entire plane. It was found out that this plane contained the same poison that Elena was researching a little while ago. Ethan was in such a bad state here due to tension that he started vomiting. Marco came to see him in the washroom, and here too, he threatened him that he shouldn't try to be clever or he would be killed. Ethan stops him from behind and says, "The plane in which you are taking that weapon has a total of 2,000 people." That man replied, "If it doesn't go on the plane, it will be detonated right here, and there are 60,000 people here. You have to decide whether you want to save 2,000 people or 60,000. Ethan was troubled and asked, "Why do you want to kill people?" In response, Marco said, "I don't want to kill anyone. I am just doing my duty, and let me do that." The scene shifts again to Elena, whose colleague comes and tells her that just now, a man named Ethan from the airport had called the police. The police had also received the call, but then Ethan didn't say anything. A little while later, a police officer suddenly died there, meaning there is definitely something wrong there. It was taking Elena some time to reach the airport, so she first sent another force to the airport, and they went and closed all the checking lines. Due to the checking lines being closed, Ethan's boss also gathered everyone, and here, all suspected people began to be investigated. Ethan now used his brain and quickly took his boss's scanner and also entered the name of Marco's man in it, whose bag he had scanned properly. After doing this, he came out. Upon coming out, when Marco saw that police officers were taking his man to another room, he asked Ethan, "What is all this happening?" But Ethan, instead of giving any answer, said, "I'm sorry, I can't help you anymore." Saying this, he took the earpiece out of his ear and immediately went to his wife. He wanted to save his wife, but then he saw that there was a laser on his wife's head, which meant that someone was pointing a gun at her. He knew that if he made any mistake, his wife would be killed. Quietly, he went back to the bathroom. He was panicking, and now Marco also came after him. Marco started hitting him. To save himself, Ethan also took out his electric taser gun. He was pointing it at Marco when Marco said, "You are not improving. You have made many mistakes, and you will see the consequences yourself." Saying this, he activated the bomb that was in that bag and said, "Earlier, only 2,000 people were supposed to die. Now 60,000 people will die." Saying this, he showed that the bomb would destroy this entire place within 10 minutes. Marco then told him, "If you want to save everyone, then quickly go to that suitcase. There, I will tell you how to deactivate this bomb." Marco, running, now came to the security room where that man's bag was being checked. Ethan pointed a gun at his boss. He was hesitating to do anything to his boss, but here, the other man quickly picks up a pen and stabs it into Ethan's boss's neck, taking his life. Seeing this, Ethan got so angry that he grabbed that man and asked, "Why did you kill him after all?" To which the young man replied, "Those people have kidnapped my brother, and if I don't do all this, they will kill him." Anyway, Ethan now contacted Marco and asked him how to deactivate this bomb. According to his instructions, he did deactivate this bomb, this machine, but at the very last moment, only a few seconds were left before the bomb was to blast as the other side we see Alina, who is rapidly heading towards the airport with a federal agent. Just then, she got a call from one of her agents who told her that the federal agent sitting with her at this time is not real. He has been sent by others. The real federal agent has now reached our police station. Hearing this, Elena got scared and immediately pointed her gun at the other man. That man also, increasing the speed of the car, tried to cause an accident. The man was successful in causing the accident, and in this process, both of them got badly injured. This man did not want Alina to reach the airport. When we were shown the scene after the accident, the man still had Alina by the throat. Alina frees her throat from his hands and then, shooting him with her gun, gets out of there. Here, Ethan, at Marco's behest, was taking his suitcase to the plane's cargo hold. Here we see that Marco has now contacted the man who was taking that bag to the cargo hold with Ethan. He told this man, now you have to do one last thing. That last thing was to kill Ethan. Hearing this, he pointed a gun at Ethan from behind, but thankfully, Ethan saw all this in a reflection in a mirror opposite him and attacked him instead. Their fight continued here, and in all this, he repeatedly tried to shoot Ethan, but once, due to the bullet backfiring, he himself was killed. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Ethan immediately took his mobile and tried to call his wife, but his wife, being busy, doesn't pick up the phone. Now leaving his wife, he calls his friend and tells him that his wife's life is in danger, and his friend goes and shows this message to his wife. Seeing this, Nora, Ethan's wife, was repeatedly calling her husband, but his phone was in the locker. At the right time, we see that Elena had also reached the airport now. As soon as she arrived, she sees the entire airport. Meanwhile, near the cargo, Marco had now arrived, and as soon as he arrived, he shoots Ethan. But despite being shot, Ethan was running because the bullet had only hit his leg. Here, Marco told Ethan, I will let you go. Just give me my suitcase. Seeing this, Ethan came down and handed over the suitcase very calmly to Marco. Incorrect. It should be to the cargo handlers, or Marco is taking it to cargo. It was seen that Alina, too, asking for Ethan's whereabouts, had reached the cargo area. By the time Alina reached Ethan, Ethan pushed her and started running outside. As he was leaving, he told her that his wife's life was in danger. I am going to save her. And before leaving, he also told her Marco's entire description. Here, it was now seen that Nora, running, had reached the parking area, and now Riley had also arrived here to kill her because he had hacked everyone's mobiles and had found out that Ethan had told Nora the whole truth. Before he could kill Nora, Ethan arrives from behind. Riley was also about to fire his gun, but before that, we hear the sound of a gunshot and Riley falls. It was seen that the man whose brother was taking the suitcase to the plane and who had died, Riley had held his brother captive, and it was he who had shot Riley. Ethan, upon seeing that man, understood that he must be the brother of the same young man whom Marco was blackmailing to get his work done. And now Ethan told him the whole truth. In trying to save you, your brother has given his life. Hearing this, he became very sad. The problems were still not solved. Ethan still had to go and somehow stop Marco. He had to stop Marco from boarding the plane in any way. But now it was too late, because Marco had already boarded the plane. Here we find out that Ethan had also done a good thing. He had put a new scanning sticker on Marco's suitcase, so that as soon as that number was tracked, he would know where Marco was at that time. When that suitcase was scanned, Ethan found out that Marco had reached the plane. He quickly tells his wife, go inside the airline department and don't let that plane take off. I will quickly go and stop Ethan. Mistaken original. Should be Marco. If the plane doesn't take off, Marco will definitely detonate that bomb right there. I can defuse it. I know this. Nora, after conveying this, immediately tells Elena, who was stopping that plane from taking off, let that plane take off. If that plane doesn't take off, Marco will activate that bomb. But Ethan has gone onto the plane. He knows how to deactivate the bomb. He will handle everything. He has done this before. It was seen that Ethan had also reached the plane's cargo hold in time. The plane had also taken off. And now Ethan, opening the suitcase, was trying to defuse that bomb. As soon as he opened that suitcase, Marco became aware of this, and he knew that Ethan must have come inside the plane to save his mission. Marco also comes into the cargo hold. Upon arriving here, Marco now fired a shot at Ethan to stop him. This time too, the bullet hit Ethan's leg, and after that, he moved forward to get his bag. The bag was in the freezer at this time. As soon as he opened that bag, he saw that the bomb did not contain the chemical with which everything gets destroyed. It was seen that the chemical was in Ethan's hand at this time. Hearing the sound of the gunshot, the pilot also found out that there were some people on the plane who had weapons. Therefore, he turned the plane back towards the airport. And here, Ethan played a clever trick. Standing up quickly, he pushed Marco inside the freezer and also threw the chemical inside the freezer, then closed the freezer. The chemical exploded there. This chemical had dried up all of Marco's blood in a single minute, and he died right there. And thus, Ethan's mission was successful. He saved the lives of a full 2,000 people. As the plane landed back, a lot of police had gathered near this plane, along with Elena. The police had also apprehended Ethan, but Elena, who knew the whole truth that Ethan had saved everyone here, tells them to release Ethan, and Ethan goes and first meets meets his wife. At the end of the movie, we find out that Marco was doing all this to kill a Russian officer, but now everyone's life had been saved. Therefore, everyone celebrates Christmas peacefully, and the story ends right here.